Just go through it. Go through it. Gotta make shit, then shit.
Ah.
Hey, hey, what up?
Sometimes you just gotta let the beat breathe
Yeah,
and let that drop.
yeah.
What's up, man?
Just chilling, brother. How you doing?
I'm excited, bro, to do this.
Yeah.
You know, this is you've talked about this for a very, very long time,
We
and
have.
so it's exciting to be able to get together and to make it happen, come to fruition, and to see your goal for what you want to see kind of come out about what we're doing.
Yeah, man. When we first got into doing podcasting, bro, it was kind of just like, hey, let's do it,
Yeah,
right? And then, like, the more we get involved with it, the more I'm like, there's just so many avenues and so many things we can do and talk about and kind of just grow our platform as a conglomerate. Ugh.
conglomerate.
Yeah,
Get the words out.
butchered that word,
Well,
but as a whole, bro, like, we can do DNA, like different spin-offs of different shows, and this is one that it means near and dear to my heart.
I think we have a responsibility, bro,
Yeah.
to make sure that we're doing things, and if we want to see change, we have a responsibility to live out that change.
That's right.
And sometimes that responsibility means creating a platform for you to speak on. We always talk about when we created the DNA Sports Podcast, it was more so just to give us another promo plug, so to speak, for the training aspect of things and what we're doing with that. But we've taken that and we've used it to promote other small businesses. We've used it to promote our football organization. We've used it to promote what I'm doing with North Track, what what we're doing with other other teams and things like that. So I think creating the platform with your vision, with don't just go through it but grow through it.
Yeah.
I think creating a platform like that gives us an opportunity to kind of, and you specifically because you've got a great story, gives the opportunity for folks to kind of hear your story, understand that we all fall short to the glory, we all fall short, and sometimes we need to pick ourselves back up and get things corrected, and we need to recognize that. So it gives a good opportunity for you to kind of be an example.
Yeah, for sure, man. A wise man once told me is like, you're not judged on like the mistakes you make. It's all about how you rebound from that mistake and what you do with that mistake, right?
Yeah.
Do you let it define you or you define it? Right? How are you gonna make the necessary changes in your life to make sure it doesn't happen again, right? Just like in a game of chess.
Yeah.
Right before us, you make a move, and was that the right move? Was that a mistake? And if it was a mistake, how are you going to bounce back to make sure you still win the game? And at the end of the day, life is a game.
Yeah.
And, it's, are you going to get to the next level and win? Or are you going to, have to go a different route? So,
well, sometimes it's about trying it a couple different times too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you figure what you're trying to do isn't the right way, and you go about changing it, and then you maybe find a more efficient way to change it. So, it's about fucking up a couple times to figure it out. Excuse my French.
You can't have success without failure.
That's right.
If anybody in life out there, like, I would like to meet the person who says that they were just successful without any
right
failure.
Off the bat, without any try.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think that exists, bro. I think everybody goes through things. I think everybody falls, and it's all about if you're going to get back up from that or not, right? You see people every day on cameras and, the celebrities going through life struggles, right? Everybody forgets that they're humans too. So they go through life struggles, and you see, are they going to rebound from this? Are they going to let it define them? Are they going to kind of go down that path and continue to fall down that slippery slope? And that's what don't just go through it, grow through it means. You can't just stub your toe on the bed and then not ever learn that the corner of the bed is still there.
What you say remind me of one of my most favorite DMX songs.
Yeah.
Slipping.
Falling.
And it's like, yo, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I got to get up.
Yeah.
Get back on my feet so I could tear shit up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the mindset you got to have, bro. Like, you know what? We mess up, we fall, but it's not how long it takes for us to get back up. It's the fact that we get back up.
Bro, I remember, so being younger, bro, or being older now, but when I was younger, I remember hearing my Nino, bro. One of the little babies was like on the couch, and my Nino was like, get the baby. He's gonna fall. He's like, shit, he ain't gonna fall past the floor. And that's real. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Because
right.
like rock bottom,
That's
bro.
right, bro.
There's only one way back up.
That's right.
You know,
Hey,
you're not gonna fall past the bottom, bro. And once you're there, you know how to get back up. And if you've been there, you
Yep.
know that you're gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's harder for some people to understand and grasp, but others just take it for what it is because they've been there so long and often.
And see, and
you know?
even if you ain't never been there, because when you've been there, you know the way out, you know how to navigate through some of the chaos, right? And even if you ain't never been there, that can be a very, very, very scary and daunting place, right?
Yeah.
But even if you've never been there, understand there is a way out.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're here, I'm here now. This is where I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
Nah, there's a way out. You just gotta navigate the chaos.
For sure, because you know, I like to say that I've learned through others' mistakes as well as my own. You know what I mean? So, if just because you haven't hit that rock bottom or you haven't been through certain situations that others have been through, you know, doesn't mean that you can't prevent yourself from going through that or prepare yourself for dealing with that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So you can always learn from somebody else, and that's what this is about, man. Is going through struggles and being able to talk about it, and then take that struggle and make it your strength.
That's right. So let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
Dom, you know, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
Just going through what we were talking about pre-show, I know there's some things in here that I'm gonna find out about you that I didn't know about you.
For sure.
For those that don't know you though, man, please just tell a little about yourself, where you're from, you know, all that good stuff.
Cool. Many of you know me as Coach Dom. You know, my full name is Dominic Aguirre. Born and raised in Denver, Colorado. Denver General.
That's right, baby.
For you youngsters, that's Denver Health. You know, right smack dab in the heart of West Denver. My family is from the west side of Denver. You know, born and raised, and me as a kid, we've traveled. Like I lived all over town. I lived in South Denver, North Denver, East Denver, West Denver, Brighton. You know what I mean? Thornton. Like I lived all over, bro. Like we've moved quite a bit as a younger kid. You know, just the struggle. Growing up, like I said, I was an 80s baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So growing up in the 80s and 90s, you know, our parents had a lot of struggles that
It's a different
when we were
time.
younger, we didn't understand. But now as an adult, I'm like, man, like I really do appreciate the struggles that my parents went through just to provide for us and give us, you know, whatever they could, even though they had their own problems going
Yep.
on. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
and you know, so growing up in the 80s and 90s, bro, we moved around, and so I seen all different types of walks of life, and you know, I was a smarter kid in elementary school. My mom and dad, they got a divorce probably 4th or 5th grade. And I was smart, bro. I'm still a smart kid. I'm not gonna say I'm dumb, you know what I mean? But like I was on principal's honor roll, you know, I just, you know, started getting in a little bit of trouble, behavioral things, bro. Like always just acting out, you know,
Sometimes it's too smart for your own good.
in class, you know, and I think a lot of that kind of stems from the separation. You know, I just kind of handled it how I want to handle it. You know, internalized everything, never talked about anything with anybody, but there was certain little triggers that just pushed me over that edge. You know, and as a youngster, I started getting in a little bit of trouble, and then about middle school time, it's already like in and out, kind of doing a little bit of, you know, good playing sports, you know, still playing chess as we have this chessboard. I've
Go ahead and go if you want.
won trophies and everything for chess and other different sports that I did, and you know, but I also got in a little bit of trouble, like classroom trouble, getting kicked out of school, getting fights, you know, things like that, like a normal teenage boy growing up in the 90s would get into.
I don't know about you. I was a good kid.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
we all believe that, you know. I loved hip hop, always loved hip hop, always gravitated to hip hop, gravitated to, you know, the urban community,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, life and you know, just what I was accustomed to, what I grew up in. Like I said, I grew up on the east side, you know, and on the south side and on the north side, and my family's from the west side, and that's where we were born and raised at. But as I moved to all those different areas, I seen how everybody navigated life on all different sides of town, and I had to deal with, you know, being from where I'm from and then living in those neighborhoods during that time was also a struggle. You know what I mean? 'Cause
What an easy task.
You stood out,
Yeah.
and you know, I ain't gonna deny where I was born and raised at. You know, and so I was that type of kid who was kind of getting in those situations early when I shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Well, folks, mad territorial, back. I mean, they still are. Like these kids still be doing the same shit but I feel like it was a little bit different back then. That we didn't like for all the bad that social media can be, all the good that social media can be. Like we didn't have that over there, so we didn't have to chase clout. We chase actual clout, like in the streets, right? Versus clout online. So it's easy to be like trying to be extra.
Yeah. So, and then those are early years after going into middle school, and then high school. Went to West High School for a little while, and actually got kicked out of there pretty early. At this time, I was already kind of like missing class and wanting to hang with my older family members and kind of just live the party life, bro. Or I kind of think I'm gonna get into the hustling. You know what I mean? And I'm already hustling, but just school is kind of like on the back burner of what I wanted to do, and that was, looking back, hindsight, my biggest mistake in life, is not taking what I had serious. You know what I mean? Because I was involved in sports.
Yeah.
I was always good in every sport that I played. I was chess champion. I was a principal's honor roll, and then always getting good grades, always acing tests. You know what I mean? It was just all about doing the work, like wanting to do it, or just like, I don't know. Sometimes at some point it felt like it wasn't as challenging as it should have been for me. So I kind of just was like, oh, I'm going to try something different.
Yeah.
And I chose the wrong things, but.
Well, that's easy too. If you're not being challenged, you get bored. Boredom with idle hands is the devil's playground, is what they say, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so then I ended up getting kicked out of West High School. And then as I bounced around, I went to different alternative schools, CLA, Emerson Street. And then by that time, I had eventually ran into my first little glimpse of trouble. And I ended up getting arrested and locked up on some charges that had nothing to do with us. We were seriously going to the liquor store, just me and a couple of my family members. And at that point in time, we got rolled up on by the cops, and we're young. We have liquor. Some of us are of age.
What are y'all doing?
And the rest of us aren't, and we have IDs. And so when they run up on us, we all scatter. They chase us down. They arrest all of us who they catch. And me and one of the other people that were with us, one of my other buddies, who was around my age, fit the description. And they have the forensic team out there, bro. They're checking our hands for like gunpowder residue and everything. And mind you,
and how old are we?
15.
Jesus.
About to turn 16.
That's got to be a little scary, bro.
It was daunting, bro. Because trust me, I was running through the streets, so I've ran from the cops before. Curfew or doing some just adolescent.
When they checking your hands for gun residue, but it's serious
time,
shit.
I'm like, I thought I was just going to the liquor store and buying some beer. Like, what are they gonna?
What did I do?
Like, what's that beer got on it? Like, why they checking my fingerprints? And I didn't even know they were checking it for gunpowder residue until I was like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we're checking your finger for gunpowder. And then, I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why, but go ahead. Like, I ain't got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And so they started doing that, and they booked us in the Gilliam detention facility on charges of aggravated robbery, carjacking, and attempted murder.
What?
And when I heard that, bro, I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's like, dude, I went to go. I'm underage drinking at the most.
And the whole time, they're like, where's the guns? Where's the gun? Like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, I had beer, bro. That's all I had. Like,
so I was about ready to shotgun a beer.
I was running because I had some beer, and I'm not supposed to have beer. And so we're sitting in the Gilliam, and at this time, I don't have a bond. And so I'm trying to get to my first court date. My pops is like, leave him in there.
Figure that shit out.
I had to go through it, and I made my mistakes. So does he.
Big boy wants to make big boy decisions. Let him be a big boy and handle it. He wants
to be in the streets running around thinking he's grown, then deal with it.
Yeah.
And I respect that. You know what I mean?
As a father now, I think about that stance. It's a tough stance to take.
It is.
Right? Like it's I'm sure it was unpopular amongst a lot of people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So to take that stance as a father, that's a tough one to take, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah. And And so my mom was like, no, I'm not doing that. So mom came to the rescue. Mom, but she had to talk like, I'm not going to come help you out. Because at this time, right, they're separated,
Yeah.
living in two different households. I'm staying with pops mostly, but I'm still like running around, like going crib to crib and already running, kind of doing my own thing, thinking I'm grown.
Yeah.
Like he said, you think you're grown, then handle grown situations.
Yeah.
And mom came and was like, I'm not going to, help you out if you really did this. And I'm like, bro, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I swear on everything I love, I did not do this. Like, and I stand on that. Like, I had nothing to do with that situation. Like, and, so she's like, all right, well, then I'm going to get you a lawyer. So she's like, she finds a lawyer, she pays the money for the lawyer, and we're getting ready to go to arraignment. So they haven't even officially,
They haven't even told you what your charges is yet.
like, nah, like, we're not real. And so when we go in, get ready to go to court, they're like, Aguirre, grab your stuff. You're getting released. And I'm like, released?
That's
Like,
right.
I don't have a bond, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I got to go to court. Like, you got to get me. How you expect me to get to court?
I gotta go to court. How you
Like,
guys
I'm
are taking
15,
me?
dog. I got to
Yeah.
get to this courthouse.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, your charges have been dropped. They don't have enough evidence on you.
Ain't that
They're like, if they find a weapon.
Is it day of court?
Yep, these charges will be brought back up if they find a weapon. I said, you're not going to find a weapon because there never was a crime.
Wow, bro.
And they released me, bro. And it was like,
how'd that feel?
it was like, I told you, but
Wasn't
like
strong enough to teach you?
It was like a weight off my shoulders, but it wasn't.
It wasn't strong enough to
No,
teach
because it
you?
was crazy because I was in there, right? And there was some crazy things that happened while in there,
Yeah.
witnessed, you know what I mean? And or whatever. But it was not enough to like say,
Scare you straight.
yeah, like it was just like, okay, now you've been there. You know what that's about.
Been there, done that.
Just don't get in that type of situation. Now, I ain't going to sit here and lie and say that the severity of what they were trying to throw at me didn't scare me because I was like, I know I'm damn sure never going to go do what they said that I did.
Right.
Because that's just not what I was out there doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that wasn't your
Wasn't
thing.
my cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but I was just like, it didn't change as far as like being in this, like I was still gravitating to hanging out, you know what I mean? And so, that went on and before you know it, I'm old, and when I get out, I'm old enough to say at this time, you at 16, you were able to drop out.
Yeah.
And so I was done with school.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just quit school at that point and was like, I'm going to work. Everybody has this aspiration to work, right? My work was a different type of work, right? I was feeding the promise of I'm going to do what I got to do, but it was like in my way.
Yeah.
While I was feeding like this, I'm going to do it the right way to everybody else, but I was, gravitating to the streets. So I was seeing everybody around me, bro. Like when I grew up in that era was either, in the game on the financial aspect of it or in the game on the usage of it.
So you surrounded by it.
So at this point I'm like, I'm going to get to the dollar bill.
I'm not gonna be the user, I'm gonna be the supplier.
And so, I started witnessing and dabbled in sound a little bit of herb at first and then, went into other things, graduated to other things, and that's what kind of, got me down to the business aspect of life.
None of us are, when Martin Lawrence once held that, he had this quote in there that says, "No one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life," And so none of us are, are exempt, right?
Yep.
So understandably, sometimes we think like we need to do certain things. Correct. We think we need to go about certain routes because that's maybe what we think is all we know. Mm-hmm. Well, I hear that a lot. People say, "Oh, it's all I know," but sometimes, man, you got to change your environment in order to learn new shit.
Correct. Right?
And so it may be true that's all you knew, but sometimes it takes a little bit to switch your environment, switch you up. So obviously, we're not immune to these issues. So tell me a little bit more about how this starts to progress and to be more more than what you think it could be, and then just obviously how you endured through those trials.
Yeah, so like I said, I was at this time, I'm coming to my own and graduating into thinking that I'm gonna, you know, go down this other path already. Like I'm already saying this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so 18, 18 years old, getting ready to be 19, I run into some more trouble. I'm at this time I'm in the streets and I'm trying to provide, and we get arrested. Right, we get pulled over. We're leaving a known residence known residence for heavy traffic in and out, people coming in and out. It's a known house in that neighborhood. And so we're driving, going to take my aunt's car back, and it's me and one of my other cousins. And at this time, I have nothing on me. We're driving. He has a little something on him. We're going down 17th, heading towards Sheridan. Right by it, we turn up by Lake and then drive up right by where the hospital is, and then we go north on 17th.
Yeah.
Right by that bus stop.
Yeah.
And the whole time, we're being followed, and I see the car that's following us, and it's like a normal car, right? And then that normal car, once we turn on 17th, when we get to turning on 17th, right there by the side of the park, as you come up by Lake,
Yeah.
the normal cars behind us, over here is a patrol car. And so we get here, we turn, patrol car follows, normal car turns off the other route, right? So they follow us for a little while, and then we pass the first entrance of where you can turn into Sloan's Lake, right by that four-way stop.
Yep.
And then we go further, and there's another entrance right there. At this
by
time,
the old gym.
That's where they hit the lights.
Damn.
And when they hit the lights, we pull in, and my cousin's like, toss this out, yada, yada, yada. And we're drinking, so we're open carry, right? And I grab what he gives, I shove it in the can, in my beer can, because it's empty. And I just try to toss the can out when we get pulled over. And they're like, what are you trying to get rid of? I was like, oh, I was drinking, I was just trying to pour it out, and so you didn't catch me with that beer. They didn't even realize nothing. And so as they pull us out and they start searching the car and they're asking us questions, they aren't finding it. And my cousin's like, bro, if they find it, like, it's me. That's mine. Like, I'm going to eat it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, they ain't going to find it. Like, and they're looking, and the can gets, like, kicked or budged. And when it gets budged, it makes a little sound because it's an empty can, but it has...
They so empty.
Yeah, it has some ingredients in it. And so when they budge it, they hear the sound, and they pick it up, and they kind of just rattle it. And she looks over at me right away, and my cousin's like, oh, they found it. Like, they're going to come and talk to us, and we're we're over here, and they're over here. So here, as they're coming, we're kind of talking, like, and I'm like, bro, it's mine. Like, nah, you just had your daughter. Like, go ahead. Like, I got you. Like, this is going to fuck you up way more than it's going to fuck me up. At this time, mind you, I said I'm 18, turning 19, so this is my first felony. And I'm like, they're going to slap me on the wrist, and I'm going to be all right.
How old was your cousin at the time?
All my cousins are about 5 years older.
Okay,
okay. He was probably, I would say he was probably somewhere around 23, 24, maybe.
Yeah, got you.
Might have been a little bit older. I don't know. I don't even know how old he is in comparison to me, but I'm thinking he's about 5 years older than me.
Okay.
And so, he's like, nah, and I'm like, yes, bro. Like, trust, like, just do it. So they're like, well, we seen you throw this. Whose is it? And I'm like, it's mine. It's like, where'd you find that? Who had the can? And they're like, all right. And so they took us down to the fucking city jail. At this time, the old city, and put us into the fishbowl. The fishbowl is their intake area where it's a glass, cell where you can see, and everybody's in there, and it's kind of where you go before they book you in. Well, we're sitting in there for a little while. Then all of a sudden, they call me and put me into a different cell past that. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And so as we're back there, this other plane officer cop comes in there. Is like, hey, you're a young kid. You help me out. I can help you out. I know you're from a certain part of town. I know you know people, and tries to threaten me with like, we can escalate this to make this hard on you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, bro. Like we're at like one thing growing up that is always like stuck with me, bro, is don't be a tattletale. Whether it was like criminal or not, bro. Like we grew up, you don't go just toweling on people.
Yeah,
Like
it was.
when we ran to aunt, uncle, moms, pops, whatever, and was like, hey, so and so hit me or so and so took this. So why you running telling me about it? What you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Like go solve your problem.
Different, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
that's how it always was, bro. And I'm like, so this dude is like coming in here trying to get me to do something that I've never done in life. And at this point, when I made the decision to say, nah, this is mine, you go ahead, when knowing it wasn't mine, at that point, bro, why would I ever try to put that on something else?
Well, and then that
get out
screws
of
up
that.
your word already in there because you're like, oh, well, you said this, and then now
Exactly.
you're saying this. Like, I already look like a liar now.
Exactly. So, and I made my choice, bro, and that's just not in my character, not in my DNA. That's not ever gonna be. And so, I just decided to, at that time, give him back his credentials and say, nah, you're cool, bro. Go your way. Put me back in the book me.
Yep.
And so they booked me. They gave me my charges.
And all you guys were in the tank, but they took you to specifically trying to get you to roll on the older cats.
Yep. And then we went back, and I told my cousin, like, bro, they were trying to get me to drop some dimes. And because he got booked too, right? Because we're drinking in the car.
Yeah.
And he had like a warrant or some other bullshit.
Yeah.
So we both went to jail. He ends up getting bonded out, and I have to go see the judge. And so when I go see the judge, bro, no one even knows really, right? Still, like, nobody in my family really even knows what's going on. While my brother is at court to see my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law's sister. She was locked up on a whole different charge, and he's like, "What?" Like he sees me behind the door. What are you doing, bro? Like, this is my older brother, mind you. Sorry, I kind of skipped over. I have, I'm one of five.
Okay.
I have an older brother and three sisters, two older sisters and one younger. But my older brother sees me, and he's like, "Bro, like, what the fuck, dog?" Like, he knows what's kind of going on, but he doesn't know, like,
he knows you're up to no good, but doesn't know the extent.
And he kind of gives me that, like, what the fuck did you do? But also, like, not disappointing, but like, damn, bro, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so.
That's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, so I'm first up, my name and her name. And so my court gets called before her, so they hear my charges and they stick around, bro. And I end up getting a PR bond. So I'm 18, first felony ever. They release me on a PR bond. And basically, I get out of jail for free. That's
basically your personal recognizance bond. That's basically you saying, I will show up to court.
Exactly.
All that good stuff. Like, I will answer to these charges, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And so at this time, I think this is December when I get arrested, 18, getting into my 19th year, right? And as I'm going into my 19th year, a little bit later on down the road, I'm on probation. They kicked me out of the whole vicinity. They kicked me out of a whole facility, and, I'm still like, okay, but now I didn't really still learn. And so I'm still
ain't learned.
Now I'm still
hard-headed ass dog.
Now it's more of me. Right now I'm really getting on my own grind, and my grind is growing. Okay. And so
all while you're waiting trial.
All while I'm going through my court proceedings and everything like that. And so, because I didn't take that case to trial.
Oh, you plead? I'm sorry. Yeah. So all while you're going through your probation or your
still court proceedings, and then I eventually take my plea. I think in June of that next year when I get my plea bargain. By the time we settle it out.
Okay.
And
so you're out on bond, just
and
doing your thing.
I basically get 2 years probation on that one.
Okay.
And I get 2 years probation, but I can't be in the vicinity of Alameda. From Alameda and Broadway to 52nd and Broadway,
Shut the fuck
up to Sheridan and down.
Like basically all of like Northwest Denver.
Yeah. So where I got arrested was by Sloan's Lake.
Yeah.
But when I got arrested when I was younger, one of my cousins that was with me is known for a certain part of town, and so was I. So they're like, okay, well, you're so and so, and you belong to
we don't need you running around here.
this street organization, which is all alleged, and so I'm known in that area, and so they kick me out of that area and say if you're caught during your court proceedings or during your probationary period in this vicinity, it's a violation. And bro, that's where I worked.
So you can't be in this area.
Mm-hmm.
You're on paper,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going through all this, but you still got to feed yourself. And so, what now?
And so, and remind you, I'm still going through the proceedings, right? And while I'm going through proceedings, like right at the same time of where I finalize and get the probation started, barely right, not even within that vicinity, I get run into the law again. This time, this time it was my own. I had another cousin that was looking for something, and I had the access to it, and so I talked to a couple people before this happened. My cousin was kind of going down a path that he wasn't really as trustworthy as he should been, but this was like my little brother. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it because one, this is what I'm doing, and if I'm out here trying to make $1, who am I to turn one away when I really ain't got everything I need in life?
I suppose, yeah.
and so he asks for an amount that should have triggered something, but in my stomach, bro, I had this weird feeling, right? And so I talked to my one of my older cousins, and she's like, "Don't do it. Like, what are you doing?" Like, she calls. She's like, "I have a feeling. Like, for some reason, I had to call you. You know what I mean? Like, just didn't I tell her what's up?" She's like, "Don't do it." And I'm like, "Cool. I heard her, but I didn't hear her. You know what I mean?" Like, and so I talked to a couple other people, my bro, I think, and I'm just like, my other cousin's like, "No, I turned my phone off on him." And I'm like, okay, well, I don't. Again, my relationship with them was different than all these other people that are saying don't do it.
I don't
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I'm hungry at this time, so I go for it, and we pull up over in Jefferson County. We're in Jefferson County, I-70 and Kipling at the Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And as we pull up, bro, mind you, it's 9, 10 p.m. Right? It's not closing hours for Taco Bell. By any means, my dog.
Especially back in the day.
Back in the
24 or more.
Not that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so
right off the interstate.
It might have been 8 or 9, honestly. Like, we pull up, right? And so we pull up. I'm in the back seat. I let my cousin sit in the front seat, and my boy, I'm playing middleman. My boy is in the front. And so when we pull up, I'm kind of like, oh, bro, like, I get this feeling because the Taco Bell worker opens up the door, looks outside like this, takes a left and a right, and then, and I remember this all slow, bro, like slow motion, and he shuts the door and he deadbolts it and locks it. So, like, we can't go in there. And so I look across the street, there's that gas station. I don't know what the name of the gas station was at this time. But I look across the street, there's that gas station right there. And like, I'm just like checking my surroundings. I look over at the little hotel or whatever. And like, I'm just like looking where I'm at. And it just seems like eerie. You know what I mean? And so the guy pulls up. He pulls up in his Durango. And my cousin gets out, goes and sits in the car with him. And when we're sitting there, I look over and me and this dude make contact. Like, I look at him and he looks away right away.
Oh.
And I got this feeling, and I told my boy, bro, my cousin's younger, dog. Like, we'll look out. I'll make sure he's all right, but go. We got to go. Because mind you, I just have.
So was your cousin out the car at the time?
He was in that car.
Okay.
And so they're handling the deal or whatever's going down. And I'm just getting this, like, nasty feeling, bro. And I'm just getting it through my other situation, really, getting that started. So my mind is like, this is it's
Self-preservation.
over for
Yeah.
you, bro. Like this is gonna ruin everything.
Fuck.
And so before we could even put it in any kind of gear, people come from around the Taco Bell, out of the Taco Bell, cars pull up and swarm us. West Metro Task Force, Detective. I ain't even gonna say his name.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember that
Golly.
that pleasant fella. But
Oh man.
you know, they roll up on us, bro. They pull us out, and at this time, I think I know how to beat this game, right? And so I'm like, I ain't saying nothing to you. I take a look at the dude's license plate. Like, this is what my mind is going through because I'm arrested on the ground. I look at his license plate because I'm like, I'm gonna remember this fool's plates, yada 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 yada. And his license plate said, "Man up." I swear to you, bro. His front license plate said "Man up."
Nice little message before.
And so he was a CI working with the task force since 1999. I think it said in my discovery. So he was working with them for some years, bro. So he's probably had his hands in a lot of, you know, sting operations. But anyway, they take my cousin's a juvenile. He goes to a different facility. They take me and my boy to Jefferson County booking. But we go in separate cars. They take us in two different separate cars. And the whole time the detective's like, oh, well, you know, well, what's the situation? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. They're like, we found that scale you had. I was like, okay. I was like, I use that to weigh my weed. You also found zigzags in my pocket. All I had was zigzags. I had some money, and I had a little digital scale on me. And they're like, well, we already checked the white residue. I was like, if you did, you would have seen that it came back for THC. I said, those are the crystals from my weed. I smoked that good shit.
You fucking arrogant bastard.
That's exactly what I said, bro. And
Good Lord.
and he was like, oh, yeah, we'll find out. And I said, yeah, we will. I said, in fact, I'm enjoying the scenery. I'm going to just sit back and enjoy this ride. And so we didn't say another fucking thing to each other for the whole way we get there. And when we get booked in, bro, we're getting booked in to the jail. They're doing a book through on us. And at this time, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what that is. I still have never really even been booked through like that on a charge. But anyway, we're sitting right there, me and my boy kind of across from each other in this little seating area before we get put into the intake cells. And I'm telling him, like, hey, bro, like, you just got to know, you got to trust me, dog. Like, don't admit to nothing. Don't speak to nobody. Just, like, wait till you get out of here. We get out of here. We'll get lawyers. Like, we'll handle this situation. Like, my cousin's, like, he's sporadic, bro. He's not going to go to court. Like, he's kind of fucked up right now, honestly. Like, and I'll help him through this situation. We'll play the backseat on this, and I'll help see him through. Like, I just took something for my cousin, so I'm thinking my cousin could do this for me, and I'll help him out.
Yeah.
You know? And honestly, too, he was, like I said, he was going down to Paranda, so I knew he was going to be, he wasn't going to show up to a court date if he was supposed to show up to a court date. And at this time, I don't even know that he's going to say anything because I'm thinking my cousin's going to just be like, nah, whatever, give me a lawyer and fight it, you know? But, you know, we get booked through, they book us through on pending investigation of possession of a controlled substance, attempt to distribute, and distribution charges. And so at this time, we get booked through, and I'm like, what the fuck? They keep my phone. They keep a couple of my things, and I'm like, well, I need my phone. And they're like, it's part of the investigation. You'll get it back when we're ready to give it to you. And so we're going to court or whatever. They book us through, and at this time, they're like, you just, you know, abide by your probationary terms, and it didn't fucking violate me for some.
Wow.
Thank Jesus, it didn't violate the bond agreement, and it didn't violate anything with my probation because it was right during that transitional period of when I actually got sentenced. And so I go meet with my probation officers, and they don't say nothing really about it, just like keep us updated on what's going on. Obviously, if you get found guilty or when you get found guilty, that'll be a whole different conversation. And so during this time, I'm saying, well, if I do get found guilty, can I be counting the time that I'm doing with you guys right now against that? and I try to play it and get it ran in concurrent together.
Yeah.
Right. And
Like, nah, dude.
it just didn't pan out for me
bro.
like that.
No.
And so they're like, no,
You didn't learn.
but when it happens, we'll see. So, I'm going through that process. And at this time, bro, I'm like, okay, you got to kind of slow it up, dog. Like, this is two in a span of what, 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And you're fucking a young kid, bro. Like, if you get one more at this time, you're going away.
Yeah.
And you might be going away on this one because of the fact that you were going through bond and into your probationary period. It's an aggravated charge. Yeah. So my aggravated charge was looking at 4 to 32 on that.
Yeah.
And so 4 to 32 years, bro, on this, I'm like, well, if I go to take it to trial, I automatically am probably going to do the minimum of 4. If I end up taking a plea, it'll be something different. But in my mind, I'm not taking a plea on this one. I'm going to trial at this current time and state. And so it starts to progress. My boy, we both get bonded out. And as of this time, I think we're good. I think we're both going to go down the same route, right? But as time progresses, I could kind of sense him like, oh, I think I'm going to take a deal. And I just don't know, bro. And at this point, I know I have this feeling about my cousin, the way his case like kind of was going. It sounded fishy to me, right? He just got out right away too, like we did. And I'm like, well, how did you got caught with that in your possession, bro? How did they just let you out like that? And so he was always like, oh, I swear, like standing on it. And my boy's like, nah, something's up. And so, my boy's kind of getting weary, and he's like, oh, I think I'm going to take the plea. Turns out my cousin did write statements on us. But my boy ended up agreeing to pretty much everything that was in the statements.
That's your cousin?
Yeah, that my cousin said. And it was down to what we were getting it for, what we were selling it for, what me and my cousin were getting out of it. Like, because my cousin even planned to pinch the sack and pull off for himself. He's like, trust me, bro, I've dealt with this food before. Like, it sounded like it was all good. He's like, I always burn him a little bit. I'm going to just take this off for me. And I'm like, whatever, bro, as long as I get my bread. And so they knew all that. And at this point, my boy's like, bro, they know all that. Like, how am I going to get out of this? And so my boy takes a plea. And by that, now that's 2 statements against me. My lawyer's like, bro, you could take this to trial, Dom. He's like, but one thing I can guarantee you is you're going to do 4 years. He goes, because I don't think I'm going to be able to beat this charge with both of them basically writing statements against you.
Yeah, it's 2 against 1 at this point.
And my boy didn't write a statement against me. I want to just say that clear. Like, he just took a plea bargain, bro. And how it's going to look is like he did.
But the plea bargains, you're agreeing to what this guy said.
Yeah, he's just basically saying, I'm guilty of what this dude said.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he didn't say anything about Dom's guilty too.
Yeah, no.
But
that's how them plea bargains work sometimes.
But how they're going to use it is you're agreeing to all these terms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, they're going to use it. Be like, hey, his buddy already agreed that this is the truth. This is what the guy that we caught it with says the truth. That's 2 people saying this is the truth versus the one saying that this is a lie.
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly. But the whole time my lawyer's like, he goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, one thing I know is looking at all of this plus what you've told me happened, it pretty, because I told him like what they're saying, bro. I'm not gonna lie, like that's pretty much it. But I just don't trust that my cousin is gonna go to court. That's where my defense is.
Yeah.
Like, if there's no witness, then there's no crime.
Yeah.
And so my lawyer's like, all 3 stories pretty much say you're basically the middleman.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't yours. You called your buddy, even though like it was my boy was really kind of the middleman for me to get it from the guy I get it from.
Right.
At this time, and so this. The way it was going down, bro, he's like, I'm basically going to go in there and say, I want the same plea.
As your buddy got?
We'll take your plea bargain, but we want the same plea because all we were was along for the ride.
Right.
We were just a telephone that connected the two people
Yeah.
together. We're not out there doing.
Yeah, we
what
don't
these
know
other
this
people were
informant.
doing.
We don't know. Yeah, we just fucking connect the dots.
And so the DA agrees, but they're like, however, we want it to be open sentencing. And so my boy got this deal. He got, the year in jail with 3 years ISP, intense supervised probation. And a year in jail, he ended up getting granted to go work release. So in work release, you get day for day. So that's really turns into 6 months in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was hoping is to get that same exact deal. But I got the deal, but instead of getting that sentence, I got open sentencing because the DA had a different plan for me. They're like, we're not giving you this deal unless you agree to open sentencing. If not, good luck in trial.
Jeez. Yeah, they knew. They had you by the balls,
and
bro.
they knew that I was playing hardball at first, and so now they're going to play that hardball a little bit.
Yeah, you didn't want to work with us to begin with, so now we're going to fucking make it difficult.
Exactly. And so I'm like, my family's gamblers, bro. So I'm like, okay. Open sentencing means you don't have a jury. You waive your right to a jury.
It's a judge that does
It's the
everything right.
judge's decision.
Okay.
And Jefferson County has a 90% conviction rate at this time. 97% conviction rate. And so I'm like, let's do it. Let's roll these dice. And so we go to court, and the judge, it's open for sentencing for the judge. The DA says what they say, but they recommend the minimum of 4 years in DOC. This guy just got charged with this, so-and-so.
Did they bring up your Denver case?
They did. He's obvious.
He needs to learn.
He's kicked out of this vicinity. He's a menace to society. He's a known.
We got to make sure this
gotta put
motherfucker
him
knows.
away.
Yeah.
And the judge takes a look at me. He kind of asks me a few questions, and then he's like, you know what? Good thing it's not up to you, and it's up to me. He goes, you see all that? He goes, I see a guy who's made a few mistakes. I see a young kid who can still fix it, but if he doesn't fix it, it'll be the end for him.
Wow. That's incredible to have someone see favor in you like that,
bro. And so they basically granted me the same exact deal as my boy, but he promised me, if I see you back in my courtroom again, you're going to DOC. And so at this time, I'm pressing my luck. My dad's on life support. My dad is took a half turn, kind of being on the other end of what I was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not directly, but, indirectly, probably. And my dad ends up in the hospital, bro. He catches pneumonia, 3% chance in living. And so I asked the judge for a stay of execution. Can I wait 7 days before I turn myself in so I can see if we're going to pull my dad off the plug this following week? And he says, no, you'll be in jail, or you'll be in and you get your work release and get out by then. Because mind you, my boy got granted work release, so I got granted everything he got granted.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, fuck, but all right. At this time, they're booking me, bailiff, take him. My brother's flipping out because he's like, we're emotional right now.
Yeah, your dad's
Like,
dad's in a situation where he might not make it out of.
And we don't know if I'm going to get out for sure. Like, this is a possibility that they're going to let me out to see my pops.
Yeah.
And so we're flipping out. I'm telling the bailiff, like, bro, you better hope my dad don't die because then it's going to be a totally different dude on the other end of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I'm in my mind, I'm telling myself, like, I'm crashing out.
Wow.
And so that whole situation goes, bro, I do my time, I get out, I do probation, which is tough, right? Curfew, them checking in on you, them treating you like you're some type of like crazy criminal, where they're coming in and questioning Vita on if I beat her or not and how her living situation is, bro. When they're just my probation officer, they're going through my fridge, checking, making sure I have no drinks in there, like all kinds of shit. But I got through it, bro. No hiccups, finished my probation, and then started the next chapter of my life.
So what were so obviously it's a tough situation. You're down 0-2 in the count,
Yeah.
To bring it back to sports, right? You're down 0-2 in the count. And if you get that third one, you're done for.
Yeah.
So what was your inspiration to keep it on track and to get right?
So, I was already trying to tell myself, like, it's time to change, right? but it's all about the people that come into your life, bro. And I met Vita. Vita came into my life, bro, and she was like, she was that force I needed. She's like, you're not gonna go down that same bullshit. Like, she knew me when I was in it, and she knew me. She knew what I had potential to do and really be in life. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, like, I'll help you get a job. Like, I'll support you through this. I'll support you through that, bro. She took me to classes. Like, she held me down until I got on my feet, and now I do the same for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're dating, we're thinking it, and she's supporting me. She's riding with me. She gets pregnant. And that's when it really changed.
Okay.
Once we had Jada, bro, I'm 24 at this time. And when by the time we had Jada, like, it was the change of my life to where I knew that was never going to be an option for me.
Mm.
Right. I already made up my mind that going through those classes, like I did a class and we watched this movie with Angelina Jolie's dad in it, and I forget the name of it, and I should have looked it up because we talked about this before. And it's about like making mistakes and rebounding from those mistakes and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And through those drug and alcohol classes at ABC Counseling, shout out to them,
Yo, them classes have value.
I learned accountability, bro.
Yeah.
And I learned that I was tearing down a community.
Mm.
And so that is where my passion comes from. But my inspiration and my goal, what drove me was my family and my kids.
So let's talk about present day Dom. Obviously, you've avoided the pitfalls that brought you down to where you were at.
Yeah.
I would say just from my time and knowing you, you've become an upstanding citizen.
I've had one parking ticket since that incident. That's a fact.
Hey.
One parking ticket. You know why? Because they ain't getting $1 out of me either.
Yeah.
It comes down to like money and bro, I have too much to lose. I have these kids that I love, and I was a kid who was put in a situation. So now present Dom is making sure that I can be an outlet to help kids not go down those same paths, bro. Not only my own kids, right? I'm gonna be that staple in my kids' life to where I'm gonna always be there, and I'm gonna always catch them when they fall and make sure they get up in the right way.
So
you know what I mean? But now I got others,
What
kids.
would you say are some of the things that you're most proud of now in present day Dom? And I mean,
in
it can even go
myself?
back just in yourself. Like, what are some of the things, some of the changes that you've made, or some of the things that have stuck around, or some of the things that you sit back on, you're like, damn, dude, I'm just so glad that I was able to do this, or so thankful, I'm so proud of myself for this.
My coaching accomplishments, honestly, like being able to coach football and be a part of not only football, basketball, right, wrestling, like all these different sports I'm involved in, all these different kids that I come across, bro, being able to be there for them, kids that like I've never even met until we both signed up to commit to what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we committed and we bought in and we knew this was the system we were growing in, like being there for those kids, bro, and watching them go through their ups and downs and being that support system for them and just really the tools to show them that they're the strongest tool in their toolbox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're successful. Like how successful they be or become is all based on what they do and what they put into life. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And you're going to make mistakes and others are going to make mistakes around you, but you just got to learn from them and try to avoid them as much as possible because it's not worth going down the road of even putting yourself in those situations.
We say this all the time when we're coaching, right? Sometimes we go up against teams and we're like, the only one that can beat you is you.
Yep.
And I think that's true in life. The only one that can beat you in life is you. Will there be fucked up circumstances or hurdles to get over? Of course there will be, man. There's always without struggle, there's no progress. That's Frederick Douglass, right?
Yep.
So I think the best advice to people is a lot of times is stay out your own way.
For sure.
You take advantage of opportunities and create your own luck.
Yeah.
Be available, but also stay out your own way. Don't try not to do dumb shit. And none of us are immune to it. Like we said earlier, how do you keep things on course? And what advice would you give to anyone going through it in a similar situation or in a similar way?
If you're going through it now, I would say just don't give in to to everybody telling you who you are and what you can do and what you can't do, because what you want to do or what you want to make of that situation is what you're gonna make of it, right? If you're locked up and you're getting into tussles here and there and all the time, repeatedly, over and over and over again, well, then that's the thing that you're putting into life. You know what I'm saying? So we all got to make the change, and just know that you got a support system. Lean on that support. Like for me, it was hard to accept help, accept it when there's people there that are really trying to help you. Like, make sure that you lean on them shoulders that are real shoulders and not those pretend, those pretend help that come with you owe me this or you owe me that. You meet genuine people, and when you meet those genuine people, nourish those relationships, treat them how you want to be treated, and I think life will take care of itself. But you gotta focus on something. You gotta get yourself determined to do something and your mind focused on something, because if not, all that negativity will drown you out. It will. And I told Frankie this the other day because he was stressing about recruiting and things like that. But I'll tell this to everybody else. Doubt is only real when you give it the power to become reality. So when you start believing in all the naysayers and all the doubt, what they say about you, that's when that doubt becomes powerful and it overcomes you. And then you give into it. Don't ever believe what anybody else says. Just do what you got to do. Don't go through it, grow through it.
On that, man. Dom, big ups, bro.
Right on, bro.
I'm seeing your sweater say, stay humble, right? Hustle hard, stay humble. And I think that's the part we got to remember. When we go through it, in order to grow through it, you got to be humble and accept criticism, accept, the fact that you're falling short. So
Sure.
I appreciate you for being vulnerable. Any of y'all going through it, like Dom said, don't just go through it.
Grow through it.
And that'll be that, man. Much love.
Right on,
I
brother.
appreciate
Thank you
bro.
for listening to
Appreciate
me.
it. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
bro. We out here. Peace.